What's up, everybody? We are back. John Delarose here, delarose.com. That's DELARROZ.com. Head to the link in my description below. Sign up for my newsletter. Never miss a video, which YouTube doesn't always give the notifications. And get a free graphic novel from me. So if you like superhero stuff, you're going to love Flying Sparks, which you get for free, at least the first volume of it. You can continue on, and I really hope that people check out the books. We've got a lot of them out there, and it should be enjoyable. All right, this is The Fate of the Phoenix by Chris Claremont and John Byrne, X-Men Volume 7 for the Epic Collections. This is from 80 to 81 and contains X-Men 129 to 141, Uncanny X-Men. They just relabeled the title at this juncture. This is when Uncanny actually started, believe it or not. 142 to 143, Annual number 4, Phoenix the Untold Story number 1, and material from Marvel Treasury Edition 26 and 27 and Marvel Team Up 100. All right, I've been excited for this volume for a long time, but I do have to get to the physical book construction of this real quick. These are pages from the book, and I read this one time. I'm not hard on my books at all. I have a very nice collection, and these just came out. There was not enough glue on the spine here. If you can kind of see, it's just you see actually the beginning of this book almost has zero glue on a lot of these pages that are even still in there. And Marvel's really been getting cheap with these Epic collections lately. The paper's thin. You can almost kind of see through it. It's a lot glossier than before. I'm really not happy with the construction of recent books, and especially not this one. I'm going to have to rebuy this, I guess. One read, this happening is really not acceptable, and I'm bummed. All right. The actual book contents itself, I was not bummed about, though. This is really fun. So at this point, you get a Hellfire Club story where Jean Grey is getting manipulated into joining this Hellfire Club sort of group under Sebastian Shaw. She is getting brainwashed as the course of these stories go along. And we kind of get this back and forth here. Really great drama. We get an introduction to the White Queen, Emma, here. And Jean Grey becomes Phoenix. Kitty Pryde is also introduced in here, as she then gets attempted to be kidnapped by the Hellfire Club, but they end up getting some of the X-Men, and Kitty Pryde kind of hides, and we kind of see her deal there. We get introduced to the Dazzler in the next one. We're introducing a lot of characters here. John Byrne and Chris Claremont. This is like the heyday. Beautiful, beautiful art. I love John Byrne's art. This period was really the best. Also, each one of these stories, even though Chris Claremont, I mean, I gotta say, my one criticism kind of everything that goes on, I love everything Claremont does. I think he draws figures beautifully. I think he has layouts that are really good for comics. And you'll notice, by the way, they start to deviate away from the Marvel House style a little bit here. The Marvel House style, it's hard to explain, but Kitty Pryde has much bigger eyes. They're kind of moving more in that Todd McFarlane-y direction that you see in the late 80s, early 90s, which is kind of almost like an anime manga direction. It's not all the way here, but you see it in some characters a little bit, and then John Byrne's really developing that own style of his a little bit, which then translates into those later on. These Hellfire Club stories continue for quite a while as Jean Grey gets further and further sucked into this whole deal. And they have a knockdown, drag-out fight/battle with these characters that have been a lot of fun. Look at this Wolverine picture. Beautiful art again. Oh my gosh. All right. So this continues on, and as you see, the book's kind of falling apart here. You get the good action now starting at this point. Cyclops has a mental telepathic connection with Jean Grey, and that ends up being the undoing of the villains here before they X-Men get unleashed. And then the Phoenix really unleashes her real power, and everybody gets brought to the moon. And this is where the real fun begins, as the Phoenix starts to interact with all of the... Oh, I guess I'm sorry. It's in these pages. We're already past that in the pages that are still stuck in the book. What can you do? But the Phoenix ends up blowing up a planet, basically, and showing unlimited power. And all of the alien races with the Shi'ar, the Kree, and all that, they all kind of say this power force has to be stopped. And the Shi'ar end up sending people to fight the X-Men, and Xavier talks them into doing a trial by combat sort of situation, and all does not go very well through this. And spoiler alert, Jean Grey dies in this whole endeavor. You get a reaction issue, as you can see here. Kind of goes over the events and goes back to things. And as you can see, again, the dialogue by Claremont is just overkill. What I end up doing in some of these issues, because I can't sit through it, is a lot of the dialogue boxes, sometimes I'll just skip over them, and then if I feel like I need to read them, I'll go back. We get the annual here, which then kind of cuts things, and we see Kitty Pryde's progression. This is actually maybe my favorite story in here. I don't usually love annuals so much. We did the art on this. John Romita Jr. I do like John. This is before he really got stylistic. You can see he's got the Marvel House style in his art here, almost completely. You would not be able to tell. These days he's got his like boxy look to everything, but not here. But Kitty Pryde ends up having her like party or whatever, and the X-Men end up having some sort of like trip through Dante's Inferno, and it's very heavy on the references to Dante's Inferno. It's not subtle at all. But they go into this and they have to rescue. I believe, who is it? Was it? I forget which character was the one that was. I think it was Nightcrawler, who almost got killed in that. And they go back and they have a little celebration there. So very fun. And then we get back to the storylines. Now, this is the Kitty Pryde issue where she really pushes further, as she's getting developed more as a character. And she wants to kind of live her own life a little bit, and we're getting a lot of good character drama between people at this juncture. Meanwhile, Wolverine and Nightcrawler go off to Canada to deal with some stuff. Wolverine really wants to close the door with Alpha Flight. And the Wendigo is back. Now, if you read the original Wolverine storyline, that Wendigo was part of the Hulk's fight with him that started the whole Wolverine saga. And this is a nice callback to that, as the X-Men have to face him there. It's a really nice cover. So Wolverine actually settles things with Alpha Flight for the most part. Alpha Flight gets into a weird spot where they get their funding canceled, and they end up having to deal with that in their own saga at some point. But that's not part of this book. So then we get back to another classic storyline, the Days of Future Past. And this is really the first time we see these alternate future realities. We see the little branding of the mutants with people. And everything's going to get destroyed because of an assassination that goes on. And Kitty Pryde has to go back in time into her young body and convince the X-Men to stop this whole thing. It is awesome. We get to meet Mystique here. Mystique's going to form this new Brotherhood of Evil Mutants with Pyro and the Blob, and really cool. And you get to meet this Senator Kelly fellow. Gosh, this is classic X-Men here. And it carries over to the next issue. So in the future, they're dealing with Sentinels and trying not to die before the timeline ends, I guess. And in the past, they're kind of trying to stop these people and then stop this whole anti-mutant sentiment at Washington, D.C. and all that, so that the future does not hold ill for mutants. A lot of dense storyline in this. This is a ton happens in these two issues. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable how much they were able to cram into 44 pages there. But they managed to do it. It's good stuff and enjoyable. We get this a return of this demon creature from past issues, who goes after Kitty Pryde here, and she's alone in the danger room as everybody else kind of is celebrating Christmas without her. She's kind of sad and alone, but she ends up managing to do this herself and take care of things herself, which is a lot of fun. And that's where the actual X-Men ends for the actual main series, and then we get these kind of side stories here. Now, these side stories were very fun. This is written by Joe Duffy on the first one, Ken Landgraf on pencils, and George Perez, a big name on inks there. You can kind of see Perez's art style carry through here. This is just a Wolverine and Hercules brawl. It's very simple stuff. And then we get into a pretty cool Angel story in the next one. Scott Feldman wrote this with Brent Anderson on art duties and Bob McLeod inking. And, while this is maybe not my favorite art, it's fun watching the Angel get chased and deal with that. Finally, there's a next one with a Marvel team up here, and this is Storm and the Black Panther, and you have Chris Claremont and John Byrne actually doing the art on this piece here. And this is this really builds a nice relationship between Storm and the Black Panther as they have to navigate a situation. It's real quick, as you see. Now, this Phoenix the Untold Story is kind of a cheesy ad here because it's kind of a short epic, and a lot of the epics that have come out also recently are on the short side. And it copies a lot of the Phoenix Saga story because what happened was there was an ending that they wanted at the beginning, and then they were asked to punch it up and redo it. So everything actually stays the same exactly, word for word, I think up until this point. And then they end up not killing the Phoenix instead and ending it here. Now, the real issue ends up a double-sized issue, so you have a lot longer going after this, but this is the, quote, untold story version, and that's there. You get a really nice interview with John Byrne, Jim Shooter, Chris Claremont through here. Really goes over what they were thinking at the time. I definitely recommend reading that, and then you get the extras at the end with a lot of the line art and promotional material and things like that. So, good stuff. I mean, this is peak X-Men, so if you want to read one X-Men book, this is the one I recommend you read. I would call it a 9 out of 10 because I can't give it full marks with the Chris Claremont over-dialoguing. It's a little bit much for my modern readership, but it is excellent storytelling nonetheless. Unfortunately, the book construction is terrible, so be very careful with your book. I don't believe I'm the only one who's had problems with this either, from what I've seen. So note that when you read this, and enjoy. Thanks a lot. Hit that like and subscribe button. We'll be back soon.